Okay, let's talk about what might just be the world's most wonderfully unhinged sporting event. I'm talking about the Cooper's Hill cheese rolling and whack. Seriously. It's a tradition that's so bizarre, so incredibly dangerous, that people from all over the planet show up every year to watch competitors risk life and limb, all for a wheel of cheese.
So, to really get this, you have to see the setting. This right here is Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire, England. I mean, it looks pretty peaceful, right? Almost idyllic. But do not be fooled. This gentle-looking slope turns into an arena of absolute, glorious chaos.
Because here's the deal. Every year, a wheel of cheese gets chucked from the very top of this hill. The second it starts rolling, dozens of people just hurl themselves after it, tumbling, sliding, and somehow sprinting down at just breakneck speeds. Which of course brings up the most obvious question in the world, why? Why on earth would anyone do this? Well, to figure that out, we've got to understand how this whole thing actually works. So, let's break down the rules of the roll. And you'll see pretty quickly that the, let's call them loose mechanics of this competition are a huge part of what makes it so legendary.
It all kicks off with the grand prize, a big round of Double Gloucester cheese, a local specialty. And get this, since 1988, it's been supplied by the same local cheesemaker, Diana Smart, and her son. So the prize is as authentic and local as the tradition itself.
And we're not talking a little wedge of cheese here. This thing weighs about 9 pounds or 4 kilograms. At the start of each race, they let it go from the top of the hill and it gets a 1-second head start before the humans take off. And believe me, that wheel picks up speed fast.
Now, to really grasp the danger, you have to understand the hill. It's not just steep, it's basically a cliff. The gradient is 1 and 2. That's a 50% grade. To put that in perspective for you, the steepest public roads in the entire world barely top 35%. Just standing on this thing is tough. Running is almost impossible, which means falling is pretty much guaranteed.
So the competitors chase, or more accurately, they tumble their way down this 200-yard course. But here's the funny part. Nobody ever actually catches the cheese. Not a chance. That thing can hit speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. So, you see, the race isn't really against the cheese at all.
And that's the crucial point. The goal isn't to catch the cheese. It's just to be the first person to make it across the finish line at the bottom in, one piece. The cheese is the prize, not the target. The real challenge is just surviving the trip down.
Okay, so let's talk history. How did this bonkers local tradition become an international sensation? Because this isn't some newfangled extreme sport. Oh no, its roots go way, way back.
Truth is, nobody knows for sure how it started. The exact origin is kind of lost to time. But there are some really cool theories. One is that it was all about maintaining grazing rights on the land. Another, which I love, is that it's a leftover pagan ritual. You know, rolling stuff down a hill to celebrate the end of winter and the start of a new year.
Now, even if the ancient origins are a bit murky, we have written proof of this thing happening as far back as 1826. But its modern history? It's been pretty turbulent. By 1993, the injuries started making big headlines. And then, in 2009, all the pressure over safety finally boiled over, and the official event was actually canceled.
And this really gets to the heart of the modern cheese rolling story. It's this constant battle between trying to preserve a really old, beloved tradition and, well, the realities of modern-day safety.
By 2013, the official pressure was huge. The police were basically warning organizers saying, hey, if you run this and people get hurt, which they will, you could be held liable. That kind of warning makes it pretty much impossible to run an official sanctioned event.
But the way the community reacted to all this is really telling. Officials tried everything. They proposed selling tickets. At one point, they even replaced the real cheese with a lightweight foam replica to make it safer. But the locals? They hated it. They said it was inauthentic. They wanted the real deal, danger and all.
So what happened? The community just took over. The cheese roll now runs completely unofficially. It's all powered by these passionate volunteers and die-hard fans who just refuse to let this tradition die. They even have local rugby players who line up at the bottom to act as human catchers for the racers tumbling down the hill. It's amazing.
And that incredible spirit, that resilience, has not only kept the whole thing alive, it's also created some true local legends and turned this quirky little event into a global spectacle.
I mean, this kind of event creates icons. People don't just do this once. The all-time champion is a guy named Chris Anderson, with an absolutely staggering 23 wins. 23! And on the women's side, Flo Early is a 4-time champion and a legend in her own right.
The level of commitment you see here is it's on another level. In 2023, a Canadian competitor named Delaney Irving won the women's race. Here's the kicker. She got knocked unconscious during her tumble down the hill and only found out that she'd won after she woke up in the medical tent. Now that is dedication.
It's probably no surprise that a spectacle this unique has totally captured the world's imagination. It was in that great Netflix series We Are the Champions, it's been on tons of TV shows, it even inspired a video game. It's really become this global symbol of wonderfully eccentric British culture.
Okay, so after all that, what's the big takeaway from this wild, chaotic, and, honestly, kind of inspiring tradition? What does chasing a wheel of cheese down a ridiculously steep hill really represent?
Well, at its heart, I think it's about a community's fierce pride in its own unique identity. It's really a testament to that human desire for tradition, for a shared experience, and yeah, maybe for just a little bit of glorious dairy-fueled chaos.
And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. In a world that feels like it's getting more and more sanitized, more obsessed with safety, maybe the pull of something like this is about more than just history. Maybe it's about a need to face a real physical challenge, to feel that thrill of chaos. It really makes you ask, in a world that wants to wrap everything in bubble wrap, is a little bit of madness a tradition worth keeping?